Okay, so I genuinely wasn't expecting to be making a video about this event, mainly due to the fact that I still have recovered from the games event torture that I endured back in August, and that modern Roblox events in general haven't been the best. So I was pleasantly surprised when the most recent Roblox event teased seemed promising to say the least. And it turned out that $1 million was on the line for this event. Like, seriously, there were actual stakes for this event, just like Ready Player One and RB Battles. So when I see the hype was big surrounding this event, I mean it. People were ecstatic about this event, thinking we were so back. But me, I thought otherwise. Just imagining the pain of enduring another The Hunt style event made me nervous to say the least. But with what was at stake, I decided to screw it, and maybe this event would be worth it all in the end. Maybe it would actually be fun. I don't even know if Roblox understands the meaning of fun. So let's see how day one played out. The event started out how any typical Roblox event would in this era, where hundreds of thousands of people were anticipating the launch in the lobby, getting hyped for whatever was about to come. Finally, the event hub officially opens up, and we're greeted with our first token for the event. Okay, so I should probably explain the format of this event before continuing. Basically, there are 25 normal tokens and 25 mega tokens you can collect within the 25 games. The normal tokens are for your more casual Roblox players that just want to get some cool limited accessories from this event and don't really care about the $1 million prize. The mega tokens, on the other hand, work a bit differently. Instead of you just being able to collect them all in one sitting, the mega tokens release at a specific time in batches every 2 days, along with hints on where to find them. And every new batch, the mega tokens start to
gradually
grow by one. I also forgot to mention that you need to get these tokens in chronological order, or else the subsequent tokens won't work. And yeah, these tokens are meant for the Giga Chat Roblox Pros or whatnot. Anyway, let's continue. This day basically set up the basics for this event, where all I did was get normal tokens, and I'm not gonna bother going through all of them in depth because this is how most of them went. Number 1, join the game. Number 2, play for a few minutes. Number 3, get the badge. It was that simple. And at this point, I didn't know mega tokens existed, so I wasn't even scratching the surface yet. So rather than boring you with the repetitive quests, I'll rank them all in 10 seconds. Also, I finished all of these by day 3, but things started to get interesting by... This was the day I discovered mega tokens and how they truly functioned, and I got right to work with SpongeBob Tower Defense, where the first mega token was located, and I was a bit surprised that a sponsored game had a somewhat decent event integration. Anyway, I'm going off track, but basically you have to go to a normal match of the hunt integration in the game and dig up several sand piles until you find the treasure map. This map guides you to the Flying Dutchman ship, where you then have to find a key and go through a maze. Next, you get teleported to a tower defense match where you just have to win. Afterward, you get another treasure map that guides you towards this hidden cave in the normal hunt quest, and when entering, you get sent to this cave where you just have to go to this platform and emote on it, and boom, you got the first mega token. You know, the quest here honestly wasn't that bad, but also wasn't really mind-blowing. But you know what was mind-blowing? Untitled Tag Game. Like, seriously, the quest here was absolutely phenomenal. The objective here is straightforward. You get assigned a job to retrieve the token from a guy named Guy. And what I mean by that is that you just gotta nuke the entire facility. Afterward, you do this incredible chase sequence. This is honestly one of the best event integrations in any Roblox event. I mean, they even had a custom soundtrack for this quest. I really hope this game gets in every future dev hunt. This was amazing. Okay, to start, if you're wondering why I skipped day 3, it's because that day was basically dedicated to me finishing up the regular tokens like I said earlier. The only real progress I made on the mega tokens was starting the pressure quest, but during a match I realized I messed up, so I just left the game. From that hint alone, I think you know by now that pressure is the third game. And I was kind of scared to play this game after constantly being told it was the hardest game in the event, and was making a lot of people unable to move on. And no offense, but that might have just been a skill issue. And I'm saying that only after dying a bunch during the regular hunt integration and getting the pattern of it basically ingrained in my brain. You just gotta adapt. And even though it isn't that hard, what it is really good. Precious Quest started off by finding 4 pieces of paper that contain numbers on them around the lobby, after which you need to insert these numbers onto a locked door that contains the decoder. Now you need to go through the regular hunt expedition again and decode 5 radios, which afterward gives you 5 symbols on your decoder, which you can enter on this keypad that is found at the end of the main expedition. Then you board this tram that sends you to the main challenge, the vault. And basically you gotta do the normal expedition, except you have to collect 30 of these fragments and worry about lava, oxygen, along with a 10-minute timer. It sounds a lot more intense than it actually is, because I finished this in only 2 attempts. Now we got to our first puzzle, which is going to be our recurring thing throughout the rest of this event. This puzzle wasn't that difficult, although that was probably due to the fact that I was doing this on easy mode. Now we have reached zone 2, the block zone, and that also means it's time for another batch of mega tokens to do. And you know, if pressure and until attack are an indication of what was to come, this event might actually be worthwhile. Oh, if only I could wish. Chain was the next game, and unlike pressure and until attack game, the quest wasn't exactly executed in the best way. You see, you have to do this obby, which is pretty dang long, and sometimes you run into these weird sections like the RNG part. I seriously have no idea why this was an obby to begin with. But arguably the worst part was finding a competent teammate that actually knows what they're doing. I got lucky and was able to find a person on Discord to do the quest with me. The next game, Rivals, was arguably even worse. The quest starts off with you just needing to shoot these special targets around the target practice area, which takes a pretty long time. Then you need to kill 15 people and collect their blueprints on a specific map and with the rifle. After, you need to pick either the sensei or Nazni boss and just beat them to get the token. And you want to know what the worst part of this token was? The hint. This chessboard right here. The hint basically referred to the 1985 chess match between Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov, who were rivals at the time, but the world champion before them was Bobby Fischer, which refers to the game Fish. I think this just confused the entire community because it took the longest to solve this mega token than any other, and was solved only after Roblox posted a tweet basically confirming Rivals. Day 5 was relatively short. I didn't really get much done on this day. I started the day off with Clip It, which again did not have a good quest. You basically had to put on certain accessories and go to certain maps where you would find these secret golden cameras, and it takes about 10 minutes to do. Game 7 was World 0, and the objective here was you needed to find these 3 gems, then go to the secret cave area and do this pretty elaborate puzzle, honestly. And lastly, fight this kind of weird boss. Okay, so we got the 4 tokens, now we can do the Zone 2 puzzle, which I'm assuming is gonna be hard, right? You can solve it in 3 moves. I mean, I'm not complaining though, and it's worth mentioning that the Zone 3 tokens were out at this time, but I just decided at the time to not do them. It's whatever, we'll catch up on. Day 6 was the day I completed the Tile Zone tokens, there now being 5 of them to collect. And out of this batch, a Dusty Trip was the first game, and I'm not necessarily saying that the quest was bad, it's just that this game is extremely janky. Genuinely, why do these lasers seem to hit you no matter what you do? And why do these zombies jump like this when they get close to you? I don't know, this quest would have been so much better if they actually fixed the problems, because this quest actually seemed promising, and it somehow got worse was the 9th token, Infection Gunfight. This quest involved you needing to first get these goggles on any map. Afterward, you needed to kill the opposing team, and each enemy would have a letter on them. You needed to kill these people with the letters to spell the phrase Mega Hunt, but here's where the bad part begins. You need to do this all in one round, and if you accidentally shoot someone with a different letter than what you need, then you have to completely restart. This was honestly one of the worst event integrations I've ever played on Roblox. Even worse than the Fruit Battlegrounds one from the Hunt First Edition. And it was apparently so bad, in fact, that the entire Infection Gunfight Discord server got raided. So that's just great. Not to mention that also got additional drama added to the current one. I somehow got lucky with this token because it only took me about 20 minutes to complete, only after the nerf. Afterward, it was Basketball Legends, which was much more tolerable. You needed to first pull this lever in the Hall of Fame building in the My Park area. Then you just needed to find these 3 shapes with numbers beside them. Afterward, you go to the practice court and make these 3 individual shots inside the shapes in the correct order. You then get teleported to this boss fight, and you just need to get more points than it to beat him and get the token. The 11th token was Metro Life, and this one pretty much consisted of you going back and forth around the entire map. You need to help these random people, which honestly seem really lazy, I can't lie. Then you needed to find 4 numbers at each corner of the map, which you can enter on the safe to get the token. And for the last game of the zone, Hell's Kitchen, you just need to find these recipes and cook a beef Wellington for this food critic, who is a complete asshole by the way. I swear, I cooked the beef Wellington perfectly like 3 times and I still didn't get a good rating. Anyway, after those shenanigans, you can return to the basement where you just give back the recipe and you get trapped by none other than the food critic, which just felt like a Scooby-Doo villain reveal. Then you just escape and get the token. There was honestly nothing good about the zone, although maybe there's one thing, the Hell's Kitchen hint. In the Tile Zone maze, you can find this tic-tac-toe board in this specific sequence, as well as all these various secret codes, which, when putting all the secret codes together and overlaying the tic-tac-toe order on it, you get
coordinates.
And when searching the coordinates up, you get Hell's Kitchen in New York. This was probably one of the best hints in the entire event, and is definitely the highlight of the zone for me. Hopefully though, the games will be much better on. We're about a week into this event now, and we got about 13 mega tokens left to collect. The next batch would be for the Beam Zone with 6 tokens. But I couldn't do that just yet because of the freaking Tile Zone sliding puzzle, which was very difficult in contrast to his predecessors. It took me so long to do the 4x4 puzzle on day 6, I had to go to sleep and do the 3x3 the next day, which was this one. Anyway, we finally start with the first game in the Bean Zone, which starts off with Arsenal. And finally, this game has a good quest. I got through 9 pieces of rubbish to finally get here. And obviously Arsenal has a good quest. I mean, it's Arsenal. The objective here is simple. You just go through the regular hunt campaign and shoot the specific target at the top of the ceiling, which reveals a secret door. Upon opening the door, you're greeted to a lab, and you basically have to complete tasks around it to build this special headset. And when putting on the headset, you get teleported to this Pokemon Final Fantasy Block Tales TMNT Legends type mission. Afterward, it's smooth sailing from there. You basically just have to continue with the objective. But there's one thing not so great about this quest, the soft locking issues. Like seriously, almost every single person who played this got soft locked, including me at one point. I was able to continue by doing a special move, although I don't really think this was known at the time of the quest discovery. Afterward was Natural Disaster Survival, which had you first talk to the unnamed man who originally got removed from the game back in 2018. He leads you to another laboratory, which includes these small diagrams of 4 specific maps in the game. When going to those maps, he gives you some kind of riddle which corresponds to a disaster, and you just have to input that disaster to the map diagram you got from the riddle. Afterward, he just explodes. The next game was Eat the World, where you had to first find this hexagon to activate the main event integration. Afterward, you have to do this memory game, then break this wall in the cave and pick up the egg of all devouring darkness and feed it to the giant noob, which teleports you to the Egghunt 2012 map. And here comes the most annoying part. You have to make it to the top of the map while avoiding the egg that spawns randomly anywhere it wants. This seriously was the most annoying part of the entire zone for me. I spent like 20 minutes down to the stupid egg over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Game 16 was Car Crushers 2, and I won't get into detail about this quest, but I'll give you the basics.
You have to first
find the secret area at the Odry Destruction Facility. Then you also have to collect this key at the end of a derby match, which you can insert into whatever this is to reveal that you need to do every crush in row 1 except the freezer for some reason. Then the door opens in the secret area and you got the token. And for what was probably the easiest quest in the zone, Blade Leak, you had to find these 4 numbers on random maps and insert them onto this keypad to be teleported to the
boss fight,
which isn't hard at all. And for the last game, and also the most complex, we got based at high school. You started by taking a picture of the camera in the principal's office, followed by you needing to drink a coffee in the science room, where you need the chemical formula of caffeine shown on the board. Afterward, you get the blacklight, and when you bring it to the park, it reveals the symbol that leads you to the history room. And when using the blacklight again, it shows this picture of my arm holding a sign with the elements helium and silver. And doing that yourself, but was the atomic numbers of those elements, and was the specific picture on the board, you go to the next step. Here you type dead on the piano at the music room, and afterward you need to get a pizza and bring it to the math room, where you make the computer screen show pizza and place the pizza on the desk with this calculator. After doing all those steps, the secret door finally opens, and all you have to do is use the fart emo while sitting on the specific chair, which teleports you to the final challenge, where you just need to beat the game Crossy Robot on extreme difficulty while collecting bombs along the way. After doing all that, you finally get the token. Now we completed Zone 4's Mega Tokens. All we need to do now is complete the puzzle, which is way easier than the previous one. And at this point, I'm all caught up with the Mega Tokens. And this zone definitely had its highlights, I can't lie, but I didn't really have time to appreciate that because I was absolutely exhausted by the end of it. So all I could do now is wait for the final batch of Mega Tokens to release on. Now, throughout this entire event, I've always been a bit late to the party when it came to collecting the Mega Tokens. I would frequently wait like a day before completing them, but now looking back, I'm not really sure why. Anyway, this day was when the final batch of Mega Tokens was released, and that meant that the top 10 to go to Roblox HQ to compete for the $1 million would be decided on this night. Now, obviously I had some ambition for getting a good placement in this event, maybe even getting in the top 10, which was very unlikely. So I decided to make my goal top
1,000
on the leaderboard to finish the event, which would require me to actually be there during the solving process. And you already know that I was terrible at doing that, so on that night, I had to lock in. So the final zone, the shape zone, releases at 8 p.m. and the first game is found pretty early on, that game being Regretivator. And the solving process for this one took about 20 to 40 minutes if I remember correctly. And the quest is as basic as you can get. You basically have to start by clicking this glowing white part behind a TV. Then you just have to collect 4 secret notes in elevator rounds and bring them back to the lobby, where you need to use riddles on the notes to find floppies around the lobby. And after finding them all, you basically decode them and enter the numbers you got onto the safe, and you get the token. The 20th game was Tower Defense Simulator. To start, you would need to find these small letters hidden around the lobby, which I don't think anybody actually did. Afterward, you would type Red Cliff Falls onto the computer in the lobby, and that would activate the mega mode you needed to play to get the token. And it's basically just the normal token quest, but a bit harder, and it has 5 extra waves. Some drama with this token, however, was while everybody was in the middle of a match, the game randomly restarted and caused everybody to start over, and some people were even at the last wave while this happened. And time for arguably one of the worst quests in this entire event. Pet Simulator 99.
Pet Simulator 99 is probably going to be super easy because it's Pet Simulator.
We are 3 games behind because we can't figure out a gosh darn Pet Simulator.
This quest involved you needing to find a key during the St. Patrick's event raid. Then you had to type knock knock on this door and it would open a secret area. This is where the bad part begins. You need to click on these ruins on the wall in this blue room to spell Gunter with no indication. Afterward, you need to click every clover in the raid to become lucky enough to get the token. I genuinely cannot comprehend how Big Games was physically able to make an event integration worse than Infection Gunfight, but here we are, I guess. This quest is the definition of abysmal dog shit. Never let Big Games cook again. Not to mention that this quest took about 3 hours to get. For the general public at least. The next game was Drive World, and the first part of this quest made me want to drive off a cliff. Essentially, you have to push this ball across the entire map and deposit it into this platform when you get there. Afterward, you need to teleport to these random places around the map where UFOs are spotted, and they have these special symbols beside them. Symbols that you can enter to this keypad and unlock the door to get the token. We only have about 3 games left at this point, and the next game is Untitled Boxing Game. This objective had you practically hack the game. You had to climb up the secret rope, and once at the top you had to do this mini game, and if you complete it you get infinite stamina to dash out of bounds and break the game. Then you have to do this somewhat weird obby. It's basically completely invisible, but not hard or anything. Afterward, you have to do the mini game again, dash through this really annoying part, beat the void boss, and you're done. Okay, I'm just gonna come here and say that at this point, I was kind of getting tired of all the shit that was happening, so I decided to end it there and just go to bed for the day. So yeah, if you were wondering whether I would get top 1,000 or not, I guess that answers your question. I think top 1,000 was taken at this point, but we don't talk about that. So let's see what happens on day 9. The last 2 games for this event were It Girl and Fish. The first one being It Girl. You basically had to find these really tiny batteries around the It Girl change room and lobby after getting this remote, which was probably the hardest part about this quest. The spawn locations for the batteries were a bit weird. And here comes the actual main integration, where you just have to find random items around this laboratory. And there's even a final boss, which can be summed up by this tweet by the Pressure Twitter account. Look, I can tell that the It Girl developers tried here, it's just I don't know, I just found this quest mids. Maybe it's because of the uncanny designs that the character models had. And finally, the last game, Fish. And surprisingly, this game actually had a good quest. You need to talk to this mysterious man who asks you to get the mega token for him, which leads you to this island with this vault you have to open. And upon opening it, you have to complete this maze, which leads you to the best part. After exiting the maze, you have to find a way to open this door with 8 slots. You'll also notice that there's a small little green pool, and when fishing out there, you get these special fish, which you can place onto the door. To put the fish into the correct order, you have to follow what the music notes that Cthulhu had at the end of this obby says in the specific order. And back at the pool, you see which fish corresponds to each music note, and it's straightforward from there. You open the door, give the mega token to the guy, and it's done. The final mega token was finally collected, and we can finally end this event. Is what I would say if there wasn't the final puzzle standing as the last hurdle to completing this event. The shape zone shape puzzle, which yeah, wasn't too difficult, but I was using a tutorial, so that probably explains why. This was probably much more stressful though if you were the top 10 to get the fish mega token. But yeah, you get teleported to the mega zone, claim your final prize, and you're done with the event. Is what I would say if, okay, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. The mega final was one of the last things to come out of this event, was the top 10 to complete the mega tokens being flown out to Roblox HQ to actually compete for the $1 million prize. It consisted of 8 games that the contestants would be competing in, and there would be qualifying rounds, the semifinals, and the actual $1 million round. And I won't go into the entire thing because it was 4 hours long, but I think the most memorable part was the final round itself, and how this guy kind of threw the $1 million by falling up the tower when there was literally 20 seconds left in the match. But yeah, in general, everybody did pretty good. Shafe won the entire thing, so congrats to him, and yeah, that basically concludes this absolute crazy event. This was definitely like a top 5 Roblox event of all time, in my opinion at least. Like, I thought the first time was fun enough, but this was on a completely different level. I think the gunting aspects of the mega tokens and the $1 million prize is what made the event so different from the previous ones we had in the past year. And it's definitely going to be a fondly looked event in the future for the most part. And also, if you're wondering, I got like 50k place in the event, which is way past 1000, but I mean, you can win everything. But yeah, the Hunt Mega Edition, probably the funnest Roblox event since RB Battle Season 3. And that's saying a lot because that event ended at the start of 2023. And there's some new leaks about upcoming Roblox event coming, so let's just hope that one's good and not a repeat of the game's events. Alright, by the time I'm editing this segment, the leaked event I was talking about already started and ended the hatch. And to be fair, it definitely wasn't as bad as the games, but it was less than ideal for an event, especially after the Mega Hunt. But it's whatever, I guess. And it's also convenient that the Mega Classic got leaked as I'm writing this, so that's cool. But yeah, I don't really know how to end this video. Yeah, goodbye.